So it looks like there's a little bit of drama over at Gamescom, specifically at the Nintendo booth, where spectators and even IGN were claiming that the handheld version of Elden Ring's Tarnished edition was running in an absolutely abysmal state, with some of the spectators claiming that they were getting 15 frames per second, and IGN, rightfully so, absolutely destroying the handheld port. Now, some spectators were able to record while they were docked, and if you can watch this boss fight, it doesn't look great. Watch the camera movements. That camera movement looks absolutely terrible. Because I'm not seeing an FPS counter on the top left or right, I'm assuming that people just took the base 30 FPS cap and then divided it by 2 when they noticed that they were having substantial frame rate drops and just called it 15. But that is, if this is the best version of the game right now, I can't imagine what the handheld looked like. And this is a huge problem if the only playable version of this game is going to be while the Switch is docked. It's the whole identity of the Nintendo Switch to be able to pull it from the dock and switch to being a handheld. Nintendo Switch 2 is a $500 console, which is roughly the same price of a console that you could have just played on your TV, docked, and played at a much better resolution and frame rate. And it also looks like their competition, the Steam Deck, is able to run this game between like 35 and 45 frames per second as an OLED screen instead of your standard LCD screen, and that OLED is about $550, relatively to the same price as a Nintendo Switch 2. And I'm sure the battery life lasts a lot better when it's handheld. This is a pretty rocky start to Nintendo, who's flexing that their hardware and graphical capabilities have been such a jump from the normal Nintendo Switch, but we're already witnessing it smack the ceiling of its graphical capabilities with games that are 3 and 5 years old. It just makes me wonder how rough the future ports for the Nintendo Switch 2 are going to be. Games aren't getting any smaller or any less graphically intense, and I'm not saying that out of spite because I do want people to play Elden Ring if you haven't experienced this game yet. As much as I don't align with the business practices and the ethics of Nintendo, with their sue happy bullshit and everything that they do behind the scenes, I am kind of rooting for them to fix this problem for the sake of the gamers, for the sake of people that haven't experienced what I think is top 3 best game of my generation. But with that said, 15 frames per second while handheld is not the way that I would hope that somebody that's just experiencing this game for the first time has to endure the game. And people are already expressing some concern about the Duskbloods, which I don't think that game is going to have nearly as bad of an issue because they're already working with Nintendo. It's a Nintendo exclusive game made exclusively for Nintendo's consoles. Elden Ring was kind of made for PC and Xbox and PlayStation, and then it eventually kind of wiggled its way into a Nintendo Switch 2 barely. If you like this content, please like, subscribe, show some support. Let me know what you think about the Tarnished edition. Is it now going to be ironically named? I think you could throw a 15 in that logo, right? The Tarnished edition. There's an IS. You can probably put one Tarnished I5. You could do something funny there. The memes are going to start flowing if this is actually 15 frames per second.